her take. Let's do it. That girl, the one that guys fall for, in love with juicy and couture. She knows she wants to find herself, and she loves and wants nobody else. In her mind, there's so much to obtain. In her eyes, she sees a world of pain. Oh no, someone find her love. Oh no, someone find her love. That girl, the one that's beautiful. Her eyes can see into your soul. Now her smile can melt away your heart, and her kiss can make you beg for more. In her mind, there's so much to obtain. In her eyes, she sees a world of pain. Oh no, someone find her love. Oh no, someone find her love. She hurts and she always keeps a smile, and she fronts and takes him out to mile. I see it's only 'cause she knew in this game you create the rules, and now she has built a wall. You can't climb the castle's much too tall. You can't break the walls of her lair. You can't soothe the wounds of her despair. But who cares? You'll never see that side. And who cares? She's down for the ride. She lives only for the thrill, and yet she longs for something real. In her mind, there's so much to obtain. In her eyes, she sees a world of pain. Oh no, someone find her love. Oh no, someone find her love. 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 Someone find her love.
All right, welcome to another episode of Can You Connect? And I'm Mr.WalkThatWalk. And today's episode, we are going to be going over dating somebody with anorexia, bulimia, and binge-eating disorder. However, I did not find a lot on bulimia, Anorexia. However, it's similar to binge-eating. So we're just going to go off of anorexia and binge-eating for this episode. So we're going to start off with our first person, and we're going to do anorexia. So our first person is a Caucasian lady from the US, I believe. I'm not 100% certain. And she reports freaking out about upcoming dates. This is often due to, for the most part, when you go out on a date, everybody goes to what? A restaurant. And when you're going to a restaurant, there's an issue when it comes up with them in regards to eating. So they may not want to eat at all, or they may not like anything. So they have and they're trying to watch their weight. So they don't really want to go on these dates when food is involved. They don't mind doing like activity because it's easier, but food, there's usually an issue that comes up with that. So at times they may avoid doing those types of dates. And she also goes on to mention about working on challenging her fears about doing that. So she's working on challenging herself and trying to go on those dates that involve going to a restaurant. And when her anorexia was severe, because let's say when they're better, they're in remission, or it's there was another word for it. But in the midst of it, when it's severe, let's say when it's severe or mild. So when it's severe, all this person usually cares about is food and exercise, and that's it, or about not eating at all. So when this person is worried about these things, they often feel maybe a bit like they're unwanted in a relationship, like they don't have a need for it, because that's not even on their mind. And they can't really focus on other people. However, when it's, let's say, mild and they have had therapy and they went through their therapeutic coping skills, and healing, then they have more room to think about dating or being in a relationships or about other things about their self-care as well. But at times they often would worry about eating out, gaining weight, they have mad worries about if they're becoming fat because they feel like their partner won't like them anymore. So that's a big worry, let's say if somebody's dating, and that was a big worry for her. And trying to understand that, gaining weight and eating out is not a bad thing, so it took her time to learn those things. And trying not to starve herself due to the person she's dating. Because at times maybe she's working on trying to look perfect for that person and, wanting them to stay around. So they have those types of worries. And at times they often worry about or wanting a partner that is going to support them. So those things are often important as well for this person. And our next person is going to be another Caucasian lady, but she's, I believe, from the UK or Europe, so one of those two places. She often mentioned as a teenager that she dealt with low self-esteem, and to the point where, that affected her dating life as well. And in her particular culture, because she has a culture where they don't start dating till 16, however, her peers was more excited about it than her because she was, struggling with her self-esteem and struggling with her body image, and that affected her wanting to date somebody because she felt like she wasn't worthy of dating. Oftentimes, she would try to hide because at times, let's say if somebody has anorexia, we see that they're maybe super skinny. Like there's whatever this is, there's no definition, no muscle, to the point where you see bone, and that's all you do see. You don't see no muscle on them. Because most people have a normal weight, but when you don't have the normal weight, it looks a bit different. And at times, due to that, it affects your nutrition. And that's going to affect your health because what you eat does boost your immune system, especially if you're eating fruits and vegetables. But if you don't eat anything, then you're getting zero nutrition. So this person is going to be in and out of the hospital due to their eating disorder. And we're going to leave that with this particular person. Another person we have for anorexia is I believe she's a black woman from the UK or Europe. She at times will often compare herself to Caucasian women because their body shape was a bit different because they looked a bit more skinnier, and she went out her way to make her body look that way. Therefore, she would often, starve herself and to try to get that potential body weight. And she also had a twin, and her twin ended up, I think her issues kind of begun a bit more with her and her sister because at times in school, they would compare the twins to see, how do you know which one's different? They'll be like, oh, well, they said she in particular would look a bit more bigger than the other twin. So it kind of started with that. And from there, now she's, let's say, observing her sister and watching her sister due to having maybe some inadequacies about that. Another person, we're going to do another person from this is going to be I believe she's an African lady from London. So she reported always being slim to the point where, everybody would kind of talk about, oh, she's always fit, she's always slim, she's always, looking good. However, when she went to boarding school, she didn't really like that experience due to maybe some negative interactions with some peers. Therefore, when she came back home, she wanted to change herself and she wanted to be more healthy. So she started doing sports, but she started doing sports excessively, to the point where it was like 3 hours every day. Because at first it was maybe an hour, 30 minutes, maybe 5 days out of the week. But at a certain point, she mentioned wanting, when she started seeing results from her exercising and maybe eating better, she wanted more results. So she started over-obsessing about it and over-exercising to the point where that affected her health. She was looking very skinny, very unhealthy, to the point where she was feeling in pain. And at this point, she would be getting triggered by, let's say, the scale. So she'd be like, oh my God, it's like 120, but I want to get it to 100. So now I got to starve myself more. She'll be like, she used to eat 3 meals a day. Now it's like she'll eat a small plate of a meal. And this affected her because she was overly tired. But in a way, she kind of enjoyed starving herself when she was in it, because she was, I guess in her mind, she was going for the results. And she was getting results, but they weren't healthy results. And in a way, she mentioned she enjoyed cooking as well. But she wouldn't cook to eat. She'll cook to share her food with everybody else, watch them eat, vicariously watch them eat. And she would enjoy that process. She wouldn't be eating, but seeing somebody eat made her feel good. So it was very interesting hearing what they were going through in particular. And she mentioned that she never got help, but she had a friend who called her out because of, they were play fighting one day and a friend hit her and she screamed and in pain. And her friend was like, yo, that's not normal. And you're not a normal weight. You start eating different, you don't look right. Her friend really called her out about her behavior, which made her think about her decisions and made her want to work on doing a bit better. So having accountability person definitely helped her in that moment. And this would be it for the people with anorexia. And now we're going to go to the people who binge eat. There's way more information for anorexia than binge eating, but that's okay. Our next person is going to be, there's a Caucasian lady who mentioned, there's only small bits, but there was a lady who mentioned feeling held hostage by food to the point where they have a lack of control. So when they eat, they're going to keep eating until they just can't muster the energy to eat anything else. There was a Caucasian guy, he mentioned that he would get triggered to binge eat if there was strong emotions, if he was feeling strong emotions, or if he was bored, if he was feeling very happy or excited. Those would kind of trigger those cravings. He will often, let's say, eat a whole box of cereal or eat a whole box of cheese, and often eat everything. And often, he mentioned, it feels like a drug. Food is his drug. He mentioned that thinking about his whys help him not do that anymore in the future and currently. And our next person is going to be a black woman from the U.S. She mentioned she also mentioned that food is like a drug. Often overeating, eating a lot of ice cream all in one go. Wishing that she was slimmer and skinnier. This goes back to looking at other people and how they look compared to her. Feeling as though when she's using the scale, she will often obsess over it. This goes back to the scale. Using the scale, she will obsess over the weight she is and then begin purging. Purging is another way to say throwing up. She will often throw up all the food that she's eaten. And at times when she does binge eat, it may be, for her, she mentioned, it may be like months. She may be binge eating for months. Months may be like almost every day or every other day she's binge eating. And it will last for months. Sometimes she said it lasts for weeks. Sometimes she said it lasts for a couple days. And at times, this will also be happening when she's overeating. She's often emotional, very in her feelings about what she's doing. Because let's say that there's guilt and shame with it as well. So when you're going through these things, it's bringing multiple emotions because you don't want to do it. And our next person is going to be another black woman. I think she might be from the UK or the US. She mentioned that everything started when she was called, she mentioned being called fat. So at a certain point in her life, when she was a kid, I think around 12. And she also mentioned sexual assault happened that also affected her, which started her binge eating. And she mentioned at the point of, she was going through this through 12 years old to age 35, but she didn't start working on it until she saw blood in her throw up. And that's when it became real that, that this was a big issue for her. Our next person is going to be I believe she's either Middle Eastern. I think she's Middle Eastern. We're going to go with that. Maybe Hispanic. I think Middle Eastern. She mentioned she would often stop eating but wanting to eat. Therefore, she will often binge eat. Or like when she want to eat for like a couple days or so, the things she really wanted to eat, she'll eat all of that in one go, one filling. And she wouldn't feel full, so she would just keep eating and keep eating. And by the time she really felt full, it was almost to the point where she couldn't stop. She just had to keep going, And she mentioned that what helped her is once realizing that everything's in her head and she has to have control over her mind and her triggers. That's what helped her work on that and work through it. And this is our last person. So we had a lot of info because it was a lot going on with eating disorders. The other ones, so-so with the other ones, but I'm going to present all of them too. But yeah, definitely thanks for watching. We're going to conclude this one. Of course, we're going to be supporting a black-owned business. Content creator is Igdola Fayan. She reports different, let's say, politics going on in the continent of Africa. What's going on with different countries there. So I'll put all her information in the description. Definitely check her out. Of course, support the musician and the artist who made my avatar. And myself, I'm a clinical social worker for the state of Maryland. And I'll put all my information in the description as well. And yeah, definitely thanks for watching. And we'll be back for another one. And sorry for the absence.
Our lives are filled with drama. Our homes are homes, they feel empty. Our dreams are dreams, slowly shattered. And our body are bruised and battered. What does it take to become a legend? to come in. Why do we wait to repaint the world? When the world loses color, it's our goal to paint the back. Yeah, yeah. When the world loses color, it's our goal to paint them back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Our emotions have no home. Our feelings have no Our beautiful women can't see the beauty in them. Our men are not standing strong. What does it take to become a legend? What can we do to teach a lesson? Whoa, is there a way for a few to come in there? Why do we wait to repaint the world? Yeah, yeah. When the world